I'm currently working on the cliff wall section of my layout. If you didn't see part 1, then you probably don't know I can do this. Hello YouTubes, welcome to part 2 of the Rock Your World series. Today we are going to start sticking on some rock molds onto my cliff face area, and hopefully if that all dries in time we'll get some paint on it as well. Let's begin. To make life easier, to save a bit of mess, because there will be mess, I'm just going to use this old moving blanket thing, prop that against there, make life much easier to stick all our little rock panels where we want them. So I think we've got plenty of rock panels to attach to the main surface. These are Woodland Scenics from a rock mold, 2 sets of them, and all the rest are made with tin foil. If you want to see how I did all that, click up there or in the description below. So we need to make up some plaster of Paris, almost like a plastered glue, and I'm not going to try and do it all in one go. We'll do maybe a foot at a time. So I need to mix up some plaster of Paris, but first I'm going to kind of decide where everything's going beforehand, and then it'll be laid down here, and then I can just put the plaster down, glue it in place, move on to the next bit, so on and so forth. This is going to be kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, deciding where everything goes first. So give me some time, and then once I've got everything ready to go, I'll bring you back. Well, you're not going anywhere, you're just going to see it really fast. Okay, I'm good with that. I think it's important not to overthink this. Just put it down randomly, as close to each other as you can. If it doesn't work, you can pull it off and put in another bit. It's no big deal. Right, plaster of Paris. So I'm going to start by making a cup full of plaster of Paris, which should do about a square foot at a time. So I'll remove a square foot of this, hopefully in order, and then basically treat the plaster of Paris like glue. Put a bit on there, stick it down, bit on there, stick it down. And let's see if I can take this off and put it back in the right order. So we're going to go from this point. So you can go down there, there, there and there, there. I think that was in there. Roughly there. I'm sure it'll make sense once I start reassembling. Something like that. Okay, let's mix up some plaster of Paris. Just over half a cup of sparkling ice. Make sure it's the 0 sugar one. It's just water. Calm down. From the tap. Now I don't want to make this too thick because then it'll harden far too quickly. I'm going to go for 4 of these spoonfuls. Let that sit for a minute, saturate all the plaster. Oh, I meant to put gloves on. Is it too late? No, because I'm not wet yet. Right, let's give this a stir. Oh, it feels really thin. I went through the same problem when I was making the rock molds. I just thought it was too thin, kept adding more, ended up too thick. So I think I'll give it a good stir this time and see if it starts thickening up by itself. Yeah, one more spoonful. I'm just going to leave that for a few minutes, see if it thickens up, because the last thing I want is for a solid cup of plaster of Paris that I can't use. Alright, leave that for a minute and I'll give it another stir. It's a little bit thicker, still not thick enough to stay put. Oh, here we go. I'm going to have to do one more spoonful. Hey, did anyone keep count? Was that 7 spoonfuls? Okay, I can feel that getting thicker now. Before you know it, it will be solid, so I'm not going to resist. I mean, I am going to resist. I'm not going to be tempted to put more in this time. Good, good, good. Getting there. Okay, let's try that. I've got a feeling that as soon as I bring this out of the cup, it'll start hardening when it hits the air. I'll just try brushing some on. In fact, we'll brush it onto the mould. Oh yeah, that's drying it almost as soon as it touches. That's very interesting. I don't even know if that's going to work because it's drying so fast. No, I'm going to have to pour the whole lot onto this and then just go for it. Oh, goodness, what have I done? This is not how it was. Just going to use a bit of water to hopefully soften up the sections that have dried a bit too fast, like that bit. Okay, that didn't go as well as I would like, but not a complete disaster. Looks a bit more natural with all the broken stones, right? Okay, hopefully I'll have better luck with the rest. See you at the end. Well, that looks horrible. I've never done this before, so I think we just have to trust the process and have faith that once we apply the paint, it's going to look fantastic. I mean, I suppose it looks natural and random and full of nature. Any gaps like down here, I'll be adding growth, as in ivy or weeds or trees. Well, not trees, there's not going to be room for trees. The top section is going to be grass and trees though, so don't worry about that. And I can't really put plaster of Paris on the, oh, I've already got the plaster wrap on it, so I was thinking about getting trees through there. I might have to drill little holes. But certainly it would be tough getting trees through this stuff. Let's just wait for it to dry. And I'll see you all tomorrow when it's dry, hopefully. It's dry. Let's give it some colour. Let's prop it up first. I thought I was going to leave it flat because there's a lot of gaps that I need to fill, but I think I would rather, at least for the first attempt, to have the paint running downwards. And then I can always turn it that way to get into all these gaps if I have to. Now, there's a million techniques out there. I'm going to go with the sort of diluted paint wash in 3 colours for this. I'm going to be using a espresso brown, grey. This is all I've got. You're supposed to use like stone grey and all fancy umber type names, I don't know, and a black. So these are the three main colours, and the black will be used towards the end to kind of blend it all together. I'll be using these sort of sponge applicators just to basically dab it all over the place and let the paint run through, merge together. Oh, who knows how it's going to end up, but let's get started. So I'm going to mix up 4 different concentrates. Each one of these will be a similar ratio, and then the 4th one will be the black, which will have a lot more water than the other 3. Make sure you give these all a good shake. I don't want to go mad, I don't want to waste all my paint, so let's try and be consistent. Brown, squidge, grey squidge, black squidge, and black again. Same amount, but there'll be twice as much water in this. Actually, I'll use half as much paint. That makes more sense, right? Okay, let me mix them all up. Look at that, they get their own sticks. Okay, since that's the heavily diluted with water one, I'm going to keep that away from the other 3 so I don't get them mixed up. Okay, let's give this a go. It might be a disaster, but that's okay. So what we're going to do, I am going to randomly splodge this brown paint I'm going to start with all the way down various different places. And then I'm going to move over to the grey, do the same, and then do the black, but not so much of the black, because once I've got all these 3 colours down, I'll be doing the black wash, which has got twice as much water in it. Right, here we go. Not so bothered about the top, to be honest, because it's going to get covered anyway. Measured that right, that's that whole tub used up. Right, let's try some of this grey. That's all the grey done. Looks pretty bad. Right, I'll try some of the black. Kind of feel like I'm camouflaging a tank at the moment. Right, that's all that paint used up. Now we get the heavily diluted black wash. I might need to get more of that actually. Because this has really got to blend everything together. So it's not as awful as I was expecting it to be. Now, we need to wait for this paint to dry because it's a bit shiny and ridiculous at the moment. And then once that's dry, we spray over with some scenic glue or diluted PVA just to seal it all in, so that if it does get wet again, it doesn't just drip away. So I'll bring you back when that's dry and see if it looks any better at all. I need to touch up a little, well, quite a lot of little bits that I didn't quite get into, all the little white bits of the rock. So let me get that done, especially in there. And I'll see when it's all nice and dry and hopefully matte. So my paint's all dry. Use the hairdryer to speed things up a bit. I have no patience. Now, before I seal it all with the glue, there's a few things I need to do first. It's just a little bit on the dark side, so I'm going to do some dry brushing, first with some light brown and then just a very, very slight hint of white. And this could be where I ruin everything. You know what? It doesn't matter. If I ruin it, then I can just start again. It's not the end of the world. This is the cheapest of the cheap paint from dollar store. I should probably use something a bit better. I'm using quite a soft brush. Right, so let me get a little bit of brush, a little bit of paint on this brush, and wipe it off again. This goes against everything about me being Scottish. Just seems such a waste. So getting most of the paint off on a paper towel, and then just brush it. See, I'm not seeing any paint going on there, but I think that's my problem with this dry brushing thing. I always overdo it. Right, let me go through the whole lot, see what it's like. Obviously we'll need to wait for this to dry as well before we do the white paint. So I think I'm done with the paint, for now at least. I'm not going to use the Scenic Glue, the matte finish, because I've only used matte paints. So it's actually drying quite nice. Let's have a look. So those highlights I added, virtually no paint, well not, yeah, almost no paint. But it just adds that tiny little, like that little edge there for example. That's all you need to give a bit of highlight on these rocks. I don't think it's that bad for my first attempt. No doubt it's going to be like my first corner that I did, which now looks a bit naff. It's okay, it's supposed to be kind of manufactured. This is supposed to be more natural, but guaranteed, by the time I get all the way around to this side of the track, I'll probably want to start this side again. But hey, it'll do for now. But we are not finished. Next thing I want to do is start adding grass, trees, maybe campers, bears, mooses, that kind of thing. But not today. That's enough for today. The video's long enough. I am going to put this back onto the track. I should probably make sure a train can get by after I've added those rocks. Should have probably done that before I painted it. And I'll see you very soon. I'm just going to keep firing away at this and get this whole section finished. See you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.